Keith.
Yes.
Do you know anything about coffee?
I know some.
Okay.
I'd like to know more.
I think is that where we come in?
That's where you come in.
Not just me. I think you know quite a bit about coffee, as do I.
Some of it eventually, I guess, in all those years, probably, hopefully seeped in.
How many years?
It did. For me, gosh.
Yeah. How many years for you were you in coffee?
Man, that was almost 11.
11 years. Okay.
Almost 11.
I doubled that.
You doubled that.
I did.
And then
I did
some.
24 and change.
That's right.
So we know a thing
You've only recently gotten out of that too. So
that's true.
Your knowledge is somewhat fresh.
It's fresh enough. Yeah, it's fresh enough. Hopefully this coffee we're about to make today is also fresh. But we do know a thing or two about a thing or two.
That's right. Coffee's where this all began, actually. Our very first podcast was on coffee.
That's true. And it was how to make the perfect pot of French press.
That's correct.
So we are actually going to make some French press coffee today, but we're going to do not what we originally did, but something different, something completely new, and it's from King's Coast Coffee is what we've got for this. Give it a shot. I'm Andrew.
And I'm Keith, and we are AboutBeverages.com. And the beverage that we're about today is the Cohhilition Blend. Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah,
okay, because
100%.
I'm just recently finding out about who this person is, who's somebody you've been following for a while. But Cohhilition Blend made by King's Coast Coffee, I'm assuming in conjunction with this person?
That is correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. It's part of their Bespoke Reserve collection. They've been doing some of these different things with several different streamers. And obviously CohhCarange is who we're talking about. And this is his, he was part of selecting all of this, of these beans, which are, it's a medium roast Guatemalan and a dark, oh no, wait, I apologize. It's a medium roast Nicaraguan and a dark roast Guatemalan. Okay. I had it reversed. I was thinking it was the other way around.
A couple of Central American coffees, which we are extremely familiar with.
Very much so. Yeah.
The company we used to work for, Arbuckle, used a lot of Guatemalan, at least at one time. I don't know if they still did, but especially when we were there was a whole lot of Guat.
Whole lot of Guat, whole lot of Nicaraguan. Central Americans were very much a big part of what we did there. So that was definitely something we were very familiar with. And I've enjoyed several different things from King's Coast. I'm looking to kind of find that one that's like, ooh, that one's really good. I haven't found that one yet. Okay. So that's what I'm hoping we find here. So I've already ground up some of it. I've also got the beans here for Keith to check out because as we always talk about, complete truth and honesty. I have already brewed some of this. I have had some of it already.
Okay, appreciate that. Full disclosure.
Full disclosure.
Right. I've done it to you.
Okay,
it's only fair.
That's true. I've done it to you. So here's the beans. Okay. You want to check those out. And then I've got the grounds here that we will eventually be brewing here in just a second.
Well, I guess would you say maybe that's kind of like what we used to say, not quite full city?
That's kind of what I thought for the lighter one. And then
roast?
I thought the medium roast or the darker roast almost looked Vienna-ish.
Yeah, not quite as French roast as we
do.
I don't see a lot of oil on there.
Yeah, not a ton of oil on there. But if you want to get a whiff of those, and then I've got the grounds here, you can check those out, and we'll talk about that as well.
Little in the whole bean, I get like a little bit of chocolate, a little nut, and a little bit of age.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've had this for about a month,
but not bad. I mean, not like, oh my God, it's stale, but just that beginning of that was the first. I think that was the first coffee lesson I got from Denny. Was we went to get that Stirflex out of storage, and there were all those, how the little backs fall off of the coffee.
Oh right, yeah.
He reached his hand in there, and he's like, and he had me smell it, and he's like, that's stale coffee.
That's stale coffee. I was
like, okay, that was lesson. Well, it was like my first lesson in coffee.
Here ended the lesson.
There's also just like a little sweetness in there too. So there's a lot of nice aroma in there, and a lot going on.
Yeah, I was kind of like I said, that was the reason I wanted to podcast on this. A couple times that we have done a few different things from different coffee purveyors. We are used to a little bit of a darker roast that we appreciate. We like that extra development of those flavors to kind of get away from some of the fruit, which again, if that's a flavor profile that you like, that's great. That's fantastic. Like I said, that's just not a profile I appreciate as much.
Unless it's in a Harar,
unless it's
like a Sidamo
or something
Ethiopian,
like that, a Yirgacheffe. Like I said, if those are kind of blended in with some dark, then that works great. But like just that as a whole cup does not always work for me. I think it doesn't have quite the depth of flavor and characteristics that I'm looking for. Right. But this one, like I said, again, that was one of the reasons I bought this one was since they actually said there was dark roasted in here, I was like, okay, let's see what they can do with what King's Coast can do with that. So what did you think of the grounds? Pretty much getting similar type aromas or anything else? Because I actually get a sweeter note in there. Okay. Like sweet, like a little caramel kind of thing going on, or what do you think? What are you thinking?
It could be that. It's hard for me to really pinpoint it at this moment. But yeah, definitely. I don't get those.
It's kind of a macadamia nut, like a roasted macadamia.
There is
that
that.
kind of thing.
I was going to say, I don't get the super nutty note, but there is a little bit of that, a lighter kind of a nutty note to it. So yeah. No, good. But but I don't really get any of the beginning of that aging on there. I don't get any of that in the grounds. So that's good.
I would agree. Yeah, I have had this bag for about a month. It has been open for about 2 weeks.
Okay.
So like I said, that's probably where some of that is starting to come from. But all right, we're going to go ahead and get this brewed. We're going to do a little time lapse right here, and we'll be right back. All right. Well, it appears our French press is ready to go here, as you can see by the...
That's right. The plunge.
The plunge.
The plunge is being taken.
That's right.
We are taking the plunge.
We are taking the plunge with you.
Our King's Coast Cohhilition Blend of Guatemala and Nicaragua. It was more, I would say, maybe like a 75-25. Did it even say that? I don't know, just to look at the beans.
It did not, but that's kind of what I was thinking as well, though. It definitely did not look 50-50.
Of the lighter roast. Yes. Maybe even less of the darker roast. I don't know, but I would say about that, like a 3/4 quart or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was definitely in that area, probably around 75-25 of the lighter for sure. We went through the usual process. We like to brew for about 5 minutes. You kind of do the walking boil, where you bring the water to a boil. As you're walking over the French press, it's cooling down enough. I let it cool down just a little bit more, because sometimes that still seems a little too hot for me.
Right.
So let that cool down. About 2.5 minutes into the brewing process that we've put it over the beans. We like to stir it up a little bit. You kind of broke the crust.
Right.
It just kind of, you can get a little bit of a whiff of those aromatics, and then we let it sit for another 2.5 minutes, and then we plunge. So
that's right.
We're on to the best part of all.
The consumption
part.
Drink.
Well, the sniffing part.
Oh, the sniffing.
Yeah.
Well, that's not the best part.
That's true. That's second best part.
That's good. Not really. Nothing like noticeable.
No, I think I'm still getting the chocolate. Like probably
a little bit of
dark chocolate, milk chocolate kind of blend.
Yeah.
And I still get the nuttiness. I'm getting a little sweet, so maybe a little hazelnutty kind of thing. Still, I'm gonna stick with that, since that's what I got in the grounds.
Yeah.
But yeah, definitely a little more mild, a little more blended together, which is kind of typical when you get to this.
And the farther you go in this process, the more things get diluted to some extent, and it's you're not gonna pick up as much as you did in the grounds, and even like breaking the crust. But no, I would agree with that.
Yeah, sometimes you will, but yeah, for the majority of the time, like a lot of people I know, they get it smells like coffee. It's like, well, yeah, a lot of times it does kind of smell like coffee. Like, yes, you and I can get into the minutia of like these other little things that we pick up on because we've done it for so long. But yeah, for a lot of times it also is just still like, oh, that's a good coffee aroma. Like, it could just be that too. So it's not a wrong.
Smells like fresh coffee.
Yeah, it smells like a very good cup of fresh coffee. Let's see what this one tastes like.
Let's do it.
Okay.
It's on the thinner side body wise. I think I would like that lighter roast developed a little bit more. I don't think it's under roasted.
Yeah.
So I'm not getting into what we would call green, like in a green banana, that kind of thing. I'm not getting
apple. You're not getting apple or anything like that, right?
I don't get that. I just get kind of like a more neutral, which is what we used to go for, and that's what I was saying. That's the temperature profile I thought like when we would use for flavored coffee.
Correct.
Because we didn't want the coffee to add too much to the flavoring. You wanted the flavoring to be the star. So that's kind of what I get, because then I do get a little bit of the darker roast coming out, and still kind of like we said before, just a little bit of all of those flavors. It's a good cup of coffee. It's not like it's necessarily like a wow cup of coffee, but it's a good cup of coffee.
That's pretty much where I was at too. Like I said, I honestly think, we are, if you happen to be available on a Thursday night on twitch.tv/AboutBeverages, you could be joining in on this conversation we're having right now live. And we had someone in the chat actually come up with the question, how does this coffee rate compared to some other of the King's Coast that we've tried? Because I have tried about this, I think it's the third or fourth one now that I have sampled. Fourth one, actually. I think this one actually is the one I've enjoyed the most. It is, I would agree. I would like to see a little bit more development out of that medium roast that is such a big portion of this blend.
Right.
I'd like to see a little bit more development out of that, just to bring forth. I think there are some more flavors there because I think it is a really quality bean that they're using. I definitely am getting that, but it's a little bit on the, like I said, underdeveloped side. And then the French roast that's in there, which is that's the Guat, right? They're using as the French roast. I think so. Yeah. I think that's actually nice. That's kind of what I'm really enjoying on the finish. That is coming through pretty good.
There's that chocolatey, like that milk chocolate kind of thing
there is
going
a little
on
milk chocolatey kind of like, almost, there is borderline like dark. I don't know if I'm thinking dark chocolate just because of some of that lighter roast is adding, like you said, a little underdeveloped. So there is like a hint of that fruit. Right. Like it's not quite like the green apple sometimes, if something like, which some of their things that I have had has gone way toward that where it's like, oh, I understand why people add cream and sugar to coffee. Because of that, there's sometimes some of that, like I said, whereas this one doesn't. So I think there is a wonderful, like I said, balance of those two, but I'd like some of that brought up just a little bit more. But overall, I think it's really solid. It's, in line. It's not one of their more expensive ones. Like I said, we had one of their barrel aged ones that we reviewed, which that one kind of let us down a little bit, especially because of the price. Right. But it's hard to do the barrel aging ones and be able to bring a good coffee profile, but then also be able to bring out, the flavor of, having it aged in a whiskey barrel or whatever else. So like I said, for me, this is the best one that I've had from them. I would consider buying it again if I didn't have access to some of the wonderful coffee that we unfortunately still have access to for, like I said, to slightly self-promote where we used to work. It still does such a great job. So unfortunately, we're a little bit tainted by that sometimes, but I think this is a solid offering. And if, like I said, again, if you're, like a little bit lighter roast or more of a medium roast kind of coffee, this definitely could be for you. Like I said, I think it is their best one that I have had.
Or even something like this might make, this would definitely take, like if you were making like a beverage over ice and wanted to add a little chocolate, add a little whipped cream or something to that, it would accept those flavors very easily. You wouldn't have to add a lot to them. You just augment that a little and even pour that over some ice. It'd be good.
But yeah, so like I said, definitely one of their better options, I would say, from the things that we have had. And if you want to see that previous option that we were talking about, you can go into the archives at AboutBeverages.com and check that out for sure. Or if you want to, since it is video and one of our more current ones, you can also go to YouTube, subscribe to us there. Never miss out on any of the new content that we are providing to you, which we appreciate very much that you guys are checking that out. If you only want audio, you can always do Spotify, iTunes, all of those things. Just search for whatever your favorite podcast provider is. Just search for About Beverages. You will more than likely find us. And what you'll also find there is the three pillars.
The three pillars
of social media that we do like to participate in.
The pillars are Facebook, Instagram, and the main one that we use, which is Twitter. You'll find us tweeting throughout the week, especially Andrew when he's doing his gaming stuff and having fun doing that, or when we're going to go live on Thursday nights. We'll let you know when we're going to be on twitch.tv/AboutBeverages. We'll send out a little message in advance and let everybody know what's going on. But yeah, that's how we usually keep in touch with everybody. That's our main way of doing things.
But as we always say, whether we like it or not,
you should give it a shot.